Fashion Dolls, welcome back. It is Motivation Monday, July 15th, and welcome to an all-new episode of Style by Stevie. I hope you guys have had a well-rested weekend. I know I have. I did some laundry yesterday. I took care of the house, made sure that everything was in order, and I did some self-care over the weekend. Got my nails, did my nails. I wanted to do something a little different, try a classic red. And I'm loving this gown that I'm wearing today. It is so gorgeous. It is called the fishtail gown. I like to call it the fishtail gown because it is so much like one of those beautiful fish in the sea. Like, this is gorgeous. So I wanted to do something that's inspired by a corset. Very beautiful. Our very special guest today, Fashion Dolls, is no stranger to the show. I've already had his wife on, and we have already become good friends in the name of beauty because we both love makeup and hair. So joining me today, ladies and gentlemen, we have Dame Smith back with us in the dollhouse. All right, so I apologize for my tardiness. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? Without further ado, let's welcome our very special guest, and I hope it works today because IG be tripping sometime. So can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? I have the fan running in the background because it is super hot outside, and I'm not trying to melt this beat off. I had to come on here looking good for y'all for my return because we did 2 shows last week, and this week is going to be a full lineup. So the lineup is already up. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go and check out my stories. Very important, vital information is in there. And also, please go and check out my feed as well too. So without further ado, Fashion Dolls, let's welcome our very special guest to the dollhouse. He needs no introduction, and he is back with us today. All right? Hello?
Hey. Can you see me?
Welcome back. I sure can. Working today.
I can hear you too.
Perfect. All right. So we are back, Fashion Dolls, with our very special guest. He is back with us today. He's been on the show previously, and you guys know I've had his wife on. Shayla, that's my girl. We have become sisters in the name of beauty, shall I say. We both love makeup, so she's going to be coming back on the show. So it's always amazing. So before we catch up with you, Dame, how have you been doing? Because it's been a lot going on. I don't even want to get into what's happened over the weekend, but I want to know how you are doing mentally, you, Shayla, and the baby.
We're doing good. I've been pretty much working on like time management and things like that, so we've been getting a lot more consistent with like scheduling and things like that. But it's been pretty good. I've started working out really consistently for the past 2 months, like really consistently, and it's been feeling good. And I think the biggest hurdle that I found, at least for myself personally, was managing sleep because I have a mindset to like go, but I don't really have like a plan for recovery and like, taking care of things. So it was interesting figuring all that out and things like that.
The same here for me. With everything that has been going on, this election cycle and everything has been difficult for me. As I introduced you in the beginning of the show, I said yesterday I finished up some laundry. I had to make sure that the house was taken care of, make sure that mom is good, and then to do this platform, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, and I'm so glad that you said that because we touch on this every time you come on here. Is finding an outlet that works for you. And for a lot of people say, okay, I want to work out. I want to get back in shape. If I'm training my mind mentally or if I'm doing something, I won't have to worry about everything that is going on. And it's a lot for people. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So what tips could you give people that could help them in this upcoming election cycle? And we have someone also that is coming on the show that is going to talk about politics and mental health because I know it's taking a toll on all of us with everything that is going on and we're in times of uncertainty. So what are some tips that you would give to people since you work with people on a daily, coaching them, telling them, okay, this is what you need to do? Because in order to have a healthy body, everybody wants the perfect body.
Right.
In order to have the perfect body, you got to have the perfect mindset first. It starts up here.
Yeah. Well, I'll start with the newest thing that I've learned is to try to control your stress factor. And that means like if you're at a job that's really demanding, take that into account for how you plan out your week. For a lot of people out work with now, they've done overnight shifts recently because of the job market. Like they're just picking, like a lot of people are hiring, and it's
Inflation is
yeah,
crazy. So I'm glad you said
like a
that.
lot of people are hiring, but it's usually jobs that there aren't favorable, like things that people don't really choose to be in. So they're picking up hours like overnight and things like that. And I noticed, kind of like what I was going through, it's just like a go 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 mindset. But once I explained to them how important it is for them to make that time for recovery, they start to make the changes pretty quickly, and they see the benefit of it. And then I guess the next thing would be, of course, I always say tracking your food, just making sure you know what you're eating. If you're not gonna keep like a diary, at least read the label, or plan the meal before you go out to the restaurant and things like that. And then the third thing is try to be active, like keep your body moving, because especially as we get more and more technologically advanced, I notice, at least for myself, as I'm making content or working with people, even at my regular job, I'm either standing at a desk, editing on a phone, or having a phone call like this right here, or a conversation like this. And if I'm not doing either of those things, it's driving. So you got to literally like take activities and force them into your schedule, and stick to it and make sure you do them as well. And all those things are just helpful. If you can just stick with two out of those three things, the third one will soon fall into place. But the key is to just stick with it, and it'll be super helpful for you.
And rightfully so. I'm going to go back to what you said when I asked you how everybody's doing. It's about balance because, like I said yesterday, I had to do laundry. I had to make sure my mom was good. I had to make sure that everything was in order. So you're always on the go. You're always running. With everything that is going on, there's a lot of things that are going on, a lot of events. Like I said, this upcoming election, so everybody's just in time of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is you have to find something. I tell people this all the time. See and don't see. Pay attention to and don't pay attention to. Yeah, it's okay to look at your news feed every now and again, but if you have to unplug. Mentally, it can become draining. And I've realized that because I'm like, okay, this is starting to take a toll on my body and my mind as well too. So I sometimes have to unplug. Well, being the journalist or being the talk show host, you're no longer in that seat anymore. You have to unplug and just kind of take the stance of everyday people. Put yourself in their shoes because it is mentally draining. You're in times of uncertainty. And as you said, with everything, the prices of everything, everybody having to take overnight jobs, inflation. So it's just like, oh my God, it's so much we got to worry about in these times. But as your health pertains, make sure that you are taking care of your health. And you guys know that I talk a lot about mental health here and advocating for healthy lifestyles. You are, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this expression, Dane, you are what you eat. So what you put in your body, it will reflect, it will show on the outside. Listen, I don't want to be a hypocrite now. Yeah, I'm putting myself on Front Street. Okay. I love cookies and cream ice cream. That's my guilty pleasure. And I know everybody's like, how do you stay so curvy? Because when you see the pictures, you see I have the hourglass shape. Yes, that takes work.
It does. It very much does.
In order to maintain me being able to fit into these outfits for you guys, it takes work. And I find myself drinking a lot more water, even with it being hot. I know it's got to be at least 100 and something outside. Make sure that you guys are staying hydrated. My key thing is I put lemon juice in my water.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard that. Go ahead, Dane. I'm sorry.
I was saying that lemon water makes it taste good. Do you find it fun? Like trying to maintain it? You find the whole
I love it.
It's fun?
It's refreshing because I put little ice cubes. Like I do my own little thing with it. And sometimes if you go to the restaurant, what they'll give you, they'll ask you, what do you want to drink? They'll put a slice of lemon on your water or whatever it may be. And if I get water, I instantly take that lemon and I squeeze it in my water. It's healthy for you. What it does is it flushes out those toxins out your body. Now, if you're like me and you consume a lot of caffeine, like I know Dr. Pepper's one of my favorite caffeinated drinks to drink. You still, again, I said I'm putting myself on Front Street, the things that I like. But I do this in moderation. It's okay to do things in moderation. Don't punish yourself for it, but still make sure that you are consuming lots of water. Make sure that you are also drinking things that can be beneficial. I'm seeing people say something about aloe vera and all of these other types of juices out here. What would you recommend them? I'm sorry.
Well, it, interestingly enough, I recently got myself a coach as well, and it's been a very, very, very like I guess thorough learning experience because we've learned about excuse me workouts and things like that, but the thing I've really been interested in was nutrition, and a lot of what you said was many of the things we've been working on. Drinking a lot of water for myself, it was at least 100 ounces, and just to make sure you're hydrated. We have a protein goal, and we make sure we're tracking all the food and things like that. And one thing, this particular coach, he gave me a good point was that he doesn't really restrict what to eat. It's just that you keep an eye on how much of it you're eating as far as calories.
Be mindful.
Yeah, and making sure you're hitting your nutrients and your macros. So like you'll see at least on his page and any other of his clients' page, people eating wings, French fries, burgers, milkshakes, cookies. But you also see them in the gym, taking walks, doing outdoor activities, staying active. So that way, it's all worth it.
And what else was I about to say? You said hot fries. I spoke with you last time about this. I have acid reflux, and as much as I want to eat hot fries and hot wings from Pizza Hut, I used to love buffalo wings. That was one of my guilty pleasures. Like, I couldn't order a pizza. I love pepperoni pizza too, without having wings on the side. So for anybody out there that likes their spicy foods, there's always a substitution for you, but don't overdo it. And that's to anybody out here who suffers with acid reflux. If you want to indulge in those things in moderation, be mindful. You still have to sit up after you eat. Do not lay down after you eat. And that's the mistake that I made. And so when I went to my doctor, she told me the same thing. She said, do you lay down quickly after you eat? And that's just like anybody. You're so stuffed. You eat a whole meal on think about it, Thanksgiving. And the next thing you want to do is you want to lay down. You're tired because eating all of that food, or if you're at a buffet or something, you've eaten all of this food, you want to go and lay down. Big mistake. Take it from me. Trust me, I know, because all of that food will get stuck right up in here in your chest and your esophageal area, and it's just like, okay, you don't know what to do with yourself. So make sure that you are sitting up after you eat. That is mindful. Hi, Nurse Chula. She says, me too, but the doctor put me on medicine, and now I can enjoy the hot foods. Yes, if you are cured fully, have at it, but for me, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I try to stay away from things that have seasoning, or if I do eat things that have somewhat of a seasoning, I lightly season. Like, I'll give you an example. Arby's curly fries. Now, we know that they are deeply seasoned. And my sister, God rest her soul, I remember she left me alone at her house one day, and I opened up the refrigerator to get something to eat. That was the first thing I put in. And this was way before I had acid reflux. But I made the mistake of going on ahead to order those things. And I'm just like, okay, in moderation, don't overdo this. So use seasoning without MSG, exactly. And if you in the black household, we talked about this last week. If you in the black household, then you know where I'm going. And I'm pretty sure Shayla know too. Listen, in the black household, what our mamas, if you go in our grandmom's or our mom's cabinet, what's the first thing you gonna see in that cabinet? You're gonna see Lorry's, you're gonna see all sorts of seasoning in there. You're gonna see something. And if it's not that, it's an what is it called? Oh my God, it's another one that we use as well, accent. So
accent. Yep.
Yes, we put these things heavily in our food. So if you want, there's other substitutions out there for it. So what are some substitutions that you would recommend, Dane, that people can use in their food preference?
I'll tell you three things. So as far as like that tired feeling when you're eating and you finish eating, that could be one of two things. It could be like how the plate is made up, like maybe you have too many carbs or something like that, and an insulin spike, or it could be too many calories, and now your body's like, okay, it's time to like relax and digest this. When I started figuring that out, what stopped that for me was when I started tracking the food, and then you can start to visualize how many calories you're actually eating. Because if you always got to like put it on the scale, that gets tedious. But after a while, you get to kind of be like, okay, that's about 100 calories, or that's too much food, and you can just see it at a point. Or you'll be like, if I eat that, I know I'm gonna, be drowsy at work, and that's key. But I think that the first step is just to start tracking. But when it comes to like things like MSG, which is it's actually called monosodium glutamate. I don't want to say it wrong, but I think that's what it's called. You can have it in small amounts, and I usually tell people if you want to test how it affects your body, eat maybe like a small amount of Doritos, and then see if you can stop eating them for the rest of the day, just a tiny amount. And if you start to find yourself, man, I want some more Doritos, then you might want to think about the seasonings in your house. And what worked for me was doing all my seasonings by hand. So now when I cook, I have salt, pepper, garlic, and things like that, and I can do it all by taste. So that helped me cut down a whole bunch of the sodium, a whole bunch of the extra additives and things that keep the seasoning on the shelf stable, and getting rid of that kind of, I guess you can say, fluff that's in like a lot of seasonings that have to be, prepared for the store and things like that. So you get really, really fresh food. And if you can, honestly, if you can, try to season your food without all of the dried herbs. Try to get fresh things. Like if you can get real garlic and chop it up, that'd be better. If you can get real peppers and things like that, try to cook that way. The fresher, the better. The raw, the better, and things like that. But of course, seasoning's always good, but it depends on your specific diet. And what worked for me is cutting all that out.
And I know it's tempting to a lot of people because you find yourself going back to it. And I know I sometimes am a late night eater. I can't help it because most of the day I'm running around doing errands and things. We can't help it. It's human nature.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself hungry, find little things to snack on. There's healthy alternatives out here that you can help you if you are trying to snack healthily in that way. And Nurse Chula wants to know what information you have for women for bloating.
Bloating, a lot of it's going to come from like whatever specifically is going on with you. But I guess as far as certain foods, it would be foods that don't make you very gassy. And that's usually fibrous foods. Like if you're eating like greens and say you go to Smoothie King or something like that, and you get a lot of fiber, that's going to build up a lot of gas in your body. But yeah, anything that's like outside of food, I'm not too sure. It would be very specific for your case, but most of it's going to be how you're eating how you're building your plates. Meaning, like if you're going to have rice and chicken, you're not going to be as bloated with that because there's not as much fiber in either of those. But if you're going to have things like collard greens, Brussels sprouts, and like all these vegetables and things, you're going to start to feel very gassy, along with salads too.
And vegetables, definitely intake a lot of vegetables as well too. Now we like our fruits as well, but make sure that you are also indulging in vegetables. Nurse Chula says eat more rice and seafood. Seafood is healthy for you too.
I'm allergic to seafood, unfortunately, so I've never actually had it. Like I can't eat any seafood, any crab, anything, and I can't have any nuts and things like that either.
My mom is the same way, and we just found out that she's allergic to nuts. We have something called Watergate salad, and it's like pistachio, and it has nuts in there, and she can't eat it. She was like, "Why is my tongue burning?" So that's something you all have to be very, very mindful of. If you are allergic to a certain fruit, vegetable, or whatever, do not include it in your regime. There are other vegetables out here that you can use. Now, we already know that people are going vegan. They might want to know your thoughts. To vegan or not to vegan? Because I'm seeing people say, I cut out meats. I'm only doing plants. I'm only doing this. I know my brother and his girlfriend, they don't eat anything that has pork in it. That is their new lifestyle for being healthy. They don't eat it. But me, I'm just like, shoot, the more the merrier. Let me have some thighs. I need some curves for this dress. Hello. So I don't mind.
When it comes to veganism, I haven't seen anything bad about it, honestly. And I've tried vegan meals because there's fully vegan, and then there's like plant based, and then there's so many other diets between that to where you're just eating meat. But I think in general, what I tell people is try to eat more plant based meals because if we just don't look for vegetables. Like I even talk to people and they say they don't like vegetables. So I know it must be even harder for them to get the benefits that they need from food. And so what I tell people is if you're going to eat, like if you're going out, try to fit like something plant-based into that meal or that day. And the more you'll do it, the more you'll like it versus saying, cutting out meat completely. That's hard in itself. But I think there's nothing really wrong with veganism. I've tried tofu. There's another one called seitan, another one called tempeh, and those are really good for protein if you want to just like replace eggs, chicken, or pork or anything like that. So if you want to cook like tacos or anything like that, those would be good for it. A lot of the things that I find that people do wrong when trying to do vegan meals or vegan food is that they don't think about how it's built. And so I'll give you two examples. You have one example of vegan mac and cheese, right? And somebody will eat a bowl of that and be like, that's dinner, but there's not much nutrients in it. But then you could have another dish where it's scrambled tofu, spinach, onions, bell peppers, and maybe like your own vegan sauce, and then you can have a tea or a drink on the side. That's a completely different meal with a completely build up of nutrients, and it's also going to actually taste good. But when people think vegan, they go to things like, okay, I'm gonna eat a chicken leg that's made of tofu, and that's probably the worst way you want to start vegan food in any way. So I would try something like vegan General Tso's chicken or vegan stir fry, something where like you can kind of pick things out and see what you like. And if you don't like something, move this to the side. Or if you really, really like something, jot that down the next time you come to the restaurant. And just be open to it because there's honestly nothing bad about it. Like all the negative things I've seen about veganism, I've looked into it and it's just so small of an issue, so rare of an issue that you probably never have to worry about it. Like people saying there's no benefit to soy or soy has negative benefits to the body is actually not true. Where soy has many, many, many benefits to it that we use in a lot of our regular foods today. So there's like I said, there's just no downside to vegan food. I think people got to find how they want to enjoy plants in their food. That's the simplest way to look at it.
And Nurse Chula says, sounds good. I tried vegan for a week and I didn't like it. See, it's not for everybody. I
Yeah.
know for me, I love meats. I love meats. And what's so difficult is just think about it. When Thanksgiving rolls around,
Mhm.
you're going to have fried chicken. You're going to have somebody that's going to bring ribs. You're going to have somebody that's going to bring all of these foods to all of these meats to the Thanksgiving dinner. It's just like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah, and
So you're
that's
going to
when I
have
would
that
be
one
like,
family member.
yeah, and that's when I would say this is where you're visualizing your plate is going to be key. So I like the holidays because of that, like all of the different options of foods because I'm just exploring it. But people, like you said, they have like their favorites. Like you're gonna go to the fried chicken, you're gonna go to the ham. What I try to tell people is don't think like I'm gonna cut this out. Say I want to add benefits to this, right? So I want to have fried chicken, but do I really need to get two, three servings? Or could I get maybe two servings and then get more vegetables or find some way to make this like a plant centered meal because you can do like a huge salad and still have that piece of fried chicken and you'll feel full versus having two or three pieces of chicken and these other foods that aren't as filling alongside of it and then you get the effects of I feel groggy or I'm not as satisfied and things like that. And it's a small dance that you kind of have to do with yourself every time you get hungry. But it like similar to how you were saying about maintaining yourself earlier. That's why I asked you, is it fun? Because it starts to become like a game, especially if you start to get into the numbers. Then it's really a game. Like you can try to beat your score every day. But that's where I try to tell people just include plant-based meals. Don't try to think I have to sacrifice and this is a chore I have to do.
Absolutely. Hi, who are me? Air fry is better. Got you. Nurse Chula wants to know: is air fry food better for you?
Better is one of those words that's a filler word. Like you can put whatever in it. So I'll say this: better tasting. No, you're gonna want the fresh fries with the oil and things like that. You're gonna want the funnel cake straight out the pan. But if you do have a goal of like convenience and you do want to cut out a lot of the extra fat and extra calories, air frying is a great way to go. And it's quick. I have an air fryer, instant pot, rice cooker, all on my counter, right? And so dinner works like this. Like I'll go into the kitchen if I have like thawed chicken or something like that. That goes into the air fryer seasoned up, and then I hit 30 minutes, 375 or whatever time it needs. Walk away, and then I can get rice in the rice cooker, put that in the cooker, turn that on, walk away, and then I can make a drink and wait, and that's dinner. And so that's perfect for that. But if you want to do something different, like if I wanted fried chicken, I can do that, but it would take a little bit more work to get it done in the air fryer. But it's a great way to cut out like that extra 200 calories out your chicken, your French fries or roasted veggies and things like that.
And Nurse Chula said that she changed her rice to jasmine rice. Jasmine rice is great rice.
Yeah,
So I've
I
had
gotta
some.
look
It's
into
pretty
rice. I
good.
don't know much about like the different rices. I just know like some of the textures are really, really good. Jasmine rice is up there. It's like number one for everybody.
So that's another thing, grains. I'm glad that you brought that up, Nose Chula. Make sure that you guys are indulging in grains. Again, if you are allergic to nuts or anything like that, don't pick it up. There's other alternatives out here that are healthier for you if you are trying to get grains and protein into your food. For me, I would do just basically a granola bar or find some nuts. I can eat almonds. My mom, on the other hand, cannot.
Mm.
Because like I said, that Watergate salad, which is a dessert, it's like okay, in a way, how can I describe it? It's like whipped cream, and then you've got the nuts in there as well too. So if you guys have ever had pistachio salad, you know exactly what I'm
I think
talking about. And they serve it at the restaurant. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm
no,
sorry.
I'm saying I think I've seen that before, like pistachio salad.
Yes. And she got it. She was like, "Why is my throat? Why is my tongue burning?" She's probably allergic to it. So don't eat anything that you guys are allergic to. I would say go to other alternatives. And that's another thing. We all love desserts. We love sweets. Again, I told y'all my guilty pleasure, and it is cookies and cream ice cream. That if it's not that, then it is the Heath. Do you guys know the Heath candy bar? They have an ice cream too.
Oh yeah.
Anything that has caramel in it, that's my guilty pleasure. That is my weakness. That's how you win me in. But indulge in these things in moderation, but make sure that you are being mindful as well too. Again, it goes back to what Dame said just a few minutes ago, which is portion control. Now, a lot of people, mine's is ice cream, all flavor. Now, another one that I like, and they used to make, is called tropical coconut. It was tropical coconut ice cream, one of the two, and it had coconut shreds. It had pineapple. It was delicious. I can't remember what brand makes it. So again, indulge in moderation. So what tips do you have for anyone, for our sweet lovers out there, Dane?
Um, the sweetness, honestly, that's something that's I actually need to go more into because what I've learned is that sugar reacts to the body similar to some similar drugs. And the thing about how we put it in food is we like to make food feel good. And that's the trick into how many people have gotten into our favorites, how we've gotten into our favorite restaurants and choices, is that it makes us literally change how we feel in real time within seconds. And so that's why when you're at work, you can think of the first thing you want to eat. You can think of what you want to order, but you're not really thinking about why you want to eat it. It's just, it just pops into your head almost like an instinct. And so sugar, since we were children, we've been introduced to it. And over time, it's either ramped
Candy.
up or it's went down. And it's ramped up with one or two ways. Where now you're an adult, you can buy the candy you want, you can eat all the cupcakes you want, or it goes into the form of like alcohol or smoothies and things like that, where it's like sneaking into the body in different ways. And so, what I try to tell people is again to track and be mindful, but the best thing honestly is to work with like your doctor or coach to really figure out what's going on in your blood work so you can get the best specific results. And the thing about sugar is you're not gonna be able to get rid of it unless you have a specific plan. Like you're not gonna just cold turkey drop sugar because it's literally in everything unless you're doing raw vegetables the rest of your life. But the key is you want to be very, very aware. So for me, I've given up soda, and I've given up soda in a way that I don't pursue it. Like if it's like the only thing to drink, fine. But if I'm at a restaurant, I'm gonna go for like a tea at the sweetest, because what sodas will do is you can get a soda that would be zero sugar, but it'll have a replacement sweetener in there. And what I've learned is those sweeteners are just kind of like break down versions of sugars. So you have fruit juices that do the same thing, like Minute Maid, Kool Aid, all these different brands. They use these different versions of sugars to get the same effects without saying we're adding sugar. And so at home, I've started drinking. If you've ever seen at the grocery store those little juices that you can squeeze in the waters, where they have
Yep.
like flavors and things like that. I use those because I can actually like measure out how much I'm drinking throughout the day instead of just picking up a 16-ounce bottle of Minute Maid and then crushing that, you know. So there's a lot of ways you can do it. Sparkling water is a great one if you're really like a soda fan and you like that tingly feeling. You can get sparkling waters that really taste good. But again, you can have these sweeteners that are in these sparkling waters that make them taste sweet. It's all about moderation because you're again, it's not about sugar bad. It's about how much of it you're actually consuming because you've been having it since you were a child. You probably have a favorite childhood candy, a favorite childhood drink, and there's probably some favorite barbecue sauces and ketchups. All of this stuff has sugar in it, and it's almost unavoidable. Now, I'll say this one last thing. I did run into one older man. He had to be like 70 years old, and he bought everything sugar free, like all of his like he would buy all of his sweets, cookies, sodas, everything sugar free. He was like, it was his doctor's recommendation, but he was like, it's a big game changer. Like he feels so much better. He's like thinking clearer. Like I guess what you wind up doing is cleaning out your blood, and the blood is the main thing that gets your body going. And so it really cleanses everything. I see nurses coffee. Coffee is another one that people don't think of because two things happen with how people order coffee. Coffee is a stimulant, and so you don't necessarily get energy, you just remove the feeling of tiredness. And then how people usually order it is they'll get coffee with sugar, with cream, and then they'll flavor it with another sweet flavor like chocolate or caramel.
Starbucks.
Yeah. And so now you're getting a stimulant which removes the feeling of tiredness, and then you're getting the energy boost of sugar, which is why you have the Starbucks membership doing so well as it's doing right now. So yeah, it's coffee is a slick one because people who are really into coffee, they'll tell you you want to make it at home. You want to add as much sugar as you specifically like or need, and you want to get the best coffees that don't, waste your money or waste your amount. Like some coffees aren't as strong as others for what you need, and of course, it being a stimulant can be addictive. So you don't want to push yourself too far.
And another one, Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, they have coffee as well too. So
Mm.
make sure that you are. I mean, also can go and look and see how many grams of sugar they put in your coffee for either Starbucks or Dunkin', and they'll tell you exactly how much they measure to put in. So be mindful of that as well too for anybody, because I know we want that morning pick me up when it comes
Yeah,
to coffee
yeah,
in the morning to just give us just that oomph, that push that we need through the day. But be mindful of that as well too, because sometimes you'll crash, and so I've seen people literally crash off of sugar. It is addicting, but however, make sure that you are doing it in moderation. Keep that in key as well too. Nurse Chula says about Red Bull. Now, you sound like my brother, Nurse Chula. Y'all have seen the 5-hour energy commercials and the Red Bull commercials. You know what they give, where they speed him up. The man was on the escalator, or what was it, an elevator or something,
yeah.
and he sped up in the commercial, and he had all sorts of energy. That's another thing. How do you feel about energy drinks, Dave?
Energy drinks are a double-edged sword. I've had to rely on them for like overnight shifts, and I've had situations where like I thought I needed one and didn't. And so I'll explain when you don't need it, and that's probably the best way to use it. Like you'll see some people who work a corporate job, right? Maybe they drive or something like that. They're like, I need to stay awake, and they'll pick an energy drink. The only way that'll work is if you need to, again, alleviate the feeling of being tired. It doesn't give you energy. It just allows your body to function while tired. So the reason it does work is if you have a situation like I was doing overnight shifts where I'm just basically moving boxes from one room to another. You don't want to feel tired doing that, and you don't have to focus. But if you're doing something like just sitting at your desk typing, you just need to sip it, basically. Like, you don't need an entire can. But what people will do is they'll crush an entire can thinking it's giving them energy, and it's not. It's just stimulating. It's just making you numb to what you're feeling for the moment. That's all it really is.
Extra hyper.
Yeah.
It's like giving a child candy. What happens when we give a kid sugar? They all over the place. It will make you extra hyper and all jittery. So make sure that you are being careful with these energy drinks. Nurse Trula says that she would prefer coffee instead of energy drinks. Me too. I haven't had coffee in a long time. I know my dad drinks it and my grandmother drinks it. Now my mom doesn't drink it either, but she just drinks regular milk. So that's another thing. We need milk for our bones. So make sure that you are consuming milk as well too. We need those vitamins in our body. Now, People Magazine posted something about multivitamins, because I take multivitamins as well too, and I would take them every day. They say they don't help you live longer, but however, there are some benefits to some of these multivitamins out here. I mean, like, there's so many. You've got your One A Day, you've got Centrum, you've got so many multivitamin brands, and then you've got the gummies as well too. I don't know how many people. Golly Gummies is the name of
I think it's
but it's so, you go into a health section in any store, any health food store or whatever, there's so many vitamins right there, and it's like, okay, there's one for hair, skin, and nails, there's one for bones, there's one if you're like 50 plus, and you don't know where to look. But also make sure that you are getting those nutrients in your bodies naturally from the fruits and the vegetables. I know my mom bought some cherries, and I haven't had cherries in a long time. So that's something that I would eat. It has antioxidants in it. And we know that antioxidants is great for your skin. So this, it's not just the makeup. That's why my skin looks so great. But it's the fruits that I put in my body as well, too. So make sure that you are being mindful. For my ladies out there, my mom was saying something about her potassium was low because she went to the doctor. She's been having some health issues, and I've been having to stay on top of that. That's why I said it's been busy doing the show and then taking care of her, making sure that she's straight. She said my potassium is low, and we know that women, that is a thing that women have to have. We have to have that in our bodies. That's potassium. So make sure that you are going, and my mom would bring back a lot of bananas. Every time we go into the grocery store, I see her pick up bananas for not just herself, but for my grandmother as well too. Because if you're a woman and you get up in like your 70s and up, you make sure that you are getting that potassium that you need in your bodies. Now they can give you the potassium pill, or you can go and just do it naturally, like I said, with the fruits. So make sure that you are going and getting bananas, all of these fruits that have potassium in them as well too. By me being breast cancer free, I have to watch out for extra vitamins that I take.
Oh, really?
Dane, what is a suggestion that you would give to Nurse Trula? Because there are people who have cancer, and it's like, okay, where do I go from here? What do I eat?
I've never actually knew that. I never knew that about being cancer free, having to watch your vitamins. But I do know about like the specific difference between like macronutrients and micronutrients and supplements and all these different big words. You're gonna have to find a coach or your doctor to give your specific numbers for what you need. And what you'll start to realize is most of the things that you need from your body come from food, and you're not going to be able to fit all the food into a day. Like, it's going to be a lot of food. So that's where people usually turn to supplements. But the trick is to get a good amount of it from your food first, right? So I would say if you can get 60 to 70% of your vitamins just from eating, then you can figure out, okay, then I can get a multivitamin for adults or something like that, and that should be enough because it covers, the little bit of micro things that I'm missing. But as far as like food, I would say try not to look at it so food specific. Like, don't think like, okay, spinach potassium or like bananas potassium, because the amount of food you would have to get into your body to feel the effects would be like a lot of food, because those foods are they're nutrient dense, but you would still have to be eating a lot of it. So I'll give you an example. It's like, so say spinach, right? You can freeze dry spinach, grind it up, and then use that in your seasoning. You can freeze spinach in the freezer and toss them in your smoothies, in your soups. If you're doing like a big, I guess, cut of meat or something like that in the instant pot, you can use that in the broth, and you can make greens out of your spinach and things like that. You can literally eat more collard greens and things like that. But the just try to avoid the idea of like one food, two, three vitamins, and then I eat this and I'm gonna get the effect, because it's gonna be hard to manage that. I would be the best way to like.
Calcium. That is something that we also need in our bodies as well too, to strengthen our bones. And I know my mom suffers from arthritis. I know my sister had it. It's in her leg. And the thing is with that, make sure that you are taking count that you have calcium as well too. Milk has calcium in it, and that's something that will help strengthen your bones. So I know she says my leg always hurt. It's always her leg bothering her, and she has to keep it elevated. So for anybody who has arthritis, that is definitely key as well too. Make sure that you're keeping your leg elevated, and not only that, but making sure that you have calcium. Again, stay hydrated. So make sure that you are consuming water. And I know my mom bought a case of Aquafina at the store. That's her favorite go-to water. I don't care what brand water it is, as long as it's water and I'm drinking it, it's healthy.
Did you know
And
there's
again,
Did you know there's
go ahead. I'm sorry.
veggies? Did you know
There's
there's
what kind of
calcium in
veggies?
veggies?
Yes.
There's in like kale and spinach. You can get probably, again, you would have to eat a good serving of it pretty often, but yeah, you can get a good amount of calcium from that. A lot of the this is probably where people have to do their search on vegan food, but like there's a lot of vegan options that if you can slip them into your meals throughout the day, you'll start to see those nutrients go up. So like if you have like a vegan hot dog, you may see some calcium go up. You may see some potassium, some vitamin K, vitamin A going up. You can slip in some tofu or things like that. You'll like plants pretty much have everything we need. So there's a lot of different ways you can get your nutrients. It's just being very intentional, because we have our favorites, and that's what we rely on here.
There you got carrots, you got broccoli, you said kale. And what is the best spring water to drink? I sometimes drink, I've got into alkaline water. That's healthy for you too. But you be mindful of that.
Alkaline is number one. If you can find that, that's like top shelf water. The only water you don't want to drink is distilled water. You can drink spring water. You can drink all the other waters that are on the shelf. The cheap 99-cent drinking water, you can drink that. Just avoid distilled water. Now, if you start getting into like specific brands and artisan waters, there's some that add sodium and things like that, which isn't necessarily bad, but it could be bad depending on your specific need. Like maybe you're trying to avoid sodium. But the reason they'll do that is the sodium in the water provides electrolytes for athletes, or maybe you have a condition, or you just want to stay, hydrated. The sodium allows your blood to really absorb the water that you're drinking. So I would say just be mindful if you're going for like I would call it, I guess, artesian or artisan waters. I guess that's how you say that. And those waters, they're usually come from minerals and things like that. They have a little bit of sodium and things like that. So yeah, the best ones are alkaline, especially if you're just trying to get oxygen in your body. Alkaline all day.
I picked some up from the store, and it's from it was a brand. It was called Eternal. The bottle was so pretty, and it says alkaline water, and it comes in a blue bottle. The bottle's shaped almost like an hourglass, like a round bottle, and it says Eternal. And I got it from Dollar Tree, and I fell in love with it. And I put my lemon juice in there as well too. Any water, I have to have a little lemon juice in it, because it does something to your body. It flushes everything out, all of those toxins. And we don't want to stay in there. And I hear a lot of people say detox. So I got to detox. I got to get it. Also, Nurse Chula, you've heard of Eternal.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a great water. I fell in love with it because I was going to go with just Pure Life. I couldn't find the full size of the Nestle's Pure Life, but it was in the small size that you could take around with you. Like, it's not even a full bottle. It's about this small.
Those are like,
if you're going like to let's just say if you're going to like taking the kids to soccer or something, and you want to give them a drink,
Yeah.
that's what you would give them. You can put them right in your cooler, or in your refrigerator. But I said I needed a full size of water, so I went with that one. I just got one bottle, and I tried it, and I fell in love with it. So alkaline water is a very good water to high in pH. But again, be mindful of your intake with that. Pure Life, you wouldn't recommend. Nestle's Pure Life, I mean, there's Pure Life, there's Aquafina, there's Dasani, there's so many water brands. Just like, okay, Deer Park is another one. Oh my goodness. It's so many brands of water, but my mom, her favorite is Aquafina. It's just like she developed a love for Aquafina. For me, it doesn't matter, but I would go with Deer Park. I would go with the regular Walmart drinking water brand. I mean, it doesn't matter. As long as I have water in my system, we have to keep that in there because it keeps everything hydrated, moisturized inside your body, and it shows on the outside as well too. Again, that is a reflection of it. So those are a few that I would recommend. And as far as lemon juice, whatever brand of lemon juice you choose, whatever brand of lemon
Yeah.
juice. Another thing that I do is yogurt as well too. Skyra, I've never heard of that brand. Oh, 7-Eleven.
Okay. I like Core. I get that from the gas station. It's a like a weird shaped bottle, the word Core written up it with a blue top.
Okay, I'm gonna try that one
They all
too.
have
And then,
tastes. Is weird.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was saying the waters they all have different like tastes and textures. So if you can find like different ones, you'll find your favorite. Like I know some people they can't stand Aquafina and but they love Dasani. To me, Dasani tastes like clear milk, and I love Deer Park. And, so there's a lot of different things you got to figure out.
And then there's Voss water. I've never had it, but I'm hearing
Mm.
mixed things about it. So I don't know what to believe as far as that Voss water. I know all I know is it's a very extravagant water. But try Skyra. Where did it? You said 7-Eleven. So are there any outlets that sell it too? Because I know if you go to Sam's Club, they have things in bulk, so you can get more for your buck. It's a lot. It's like economy size. It's huge.
Yeah, I haven't tried.
um, Voss. I haven't tried Voss either.
There's an
Oh my
with
goodness.
death. I think that's a sparkling water.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, the can looks like a beer can, so it just looks weird to me.
I've never tried it. I've heard things about that one as well too. Liquid
Mm.
Death. So I mean, there's so many. They're coming out with so many brands. Only in 7-Eleven. Okay,
Uh,
got you. Hi, Alex. Welcome. If you're just coming in, welcome. Welcome. We are talking how to stay healthy for the summertime here with Dane Smith, and we were just talking about different waters that you could drink. And it's important that we stay hydrated during these summer months. That's because a lot of people get dehydrated and they suffer with health issues from this heat. This heat can drain you. So make sure that you are staying healthy. There's a healthy alternative. Now, I do yogurt. They're saying that that's another one of my things as well too. And with my acid reflux and digestive issues, I went with Activia. So Activia really helps me. Everything
yep.
digests. Now they're saying you're not supposed to eat yogurt in the mornings, but some people are weird about it. They eat it sometimes in the mornings. I do it sometimes like in the afternoon,
I've never heard
like around the
of that.
afternoon time.
I've never heard of
Yeah.
that. I love yogurt. Activia is really, really good, especially if you just like snack on something sweet and then still eat something healthy. It's really good. Yogurt's a good food in general to just keep around if you like it because you can throw almost any type of flavor into it. They have vanilla yogurt, and you can do that to make all your sweet treats and your morning breakfasts and things like that. And they have plain yogurt that I use for like tacos, sandwiches, and stuff, and sauces. So you can go a lot of different ways with yogurt. You can get good protein from it.
I like peach. Now Activia has flavors of strawberry, peach, and vanilla. I would typically go for the peach and the vanilla. I don't know what it is about those two flavors. Vegetables is one of my favorite foods of all time. Yes, and we covered talking about vegetables a few minutes ago. You just coming in. Greek yogurt is very, very good with real fruit. Yes,
Yeah,
and people make their own, like Dane just mentioned, desserts with these. The healthier alternative to what you would typically go and pick up
and you'll get
from the
full
store.
quickly too. That's what I learned. You get full super quick eating a little bit.
Absolutely. I know I had a yogurt this morning. It was a peach yogurt. And it wasn't the Activia kind, but it definitely filled me up. I said I need something else. I had something to eat, but I needed something else to fill me up, and that peach yogurt did it. So again, there's so many alternatives for dessert foods out here that you can go on the market and try that are much healthier for you. And a lot of people are just like, okay, where do I turn to? There's so many options, so many options. And you're in the aisle, you're like a kid in a candy store, you don't know where to go.
Yeah,
So that's the thing.
I would say it depends on your goal. For some people, it's just like they just want to eat, good food, good tasting food, so they don't really worry too much about like how it's prepared or what's in it, and they just think about, don't eat too much and go in moderation. And then for other people, it's about like I want to eat to look good or feel good. So you got to think about what's really into the at least the first two steps of your meal. When you go to the grocery store, is your favorite snack full of MSG, like we were talking about earlier? And then the last thing would be like there's some people whose goal is to eat as clean as possible. And that can really, really, really be difficult, but usually they'll just resort to cooking for themselves at home and just, buying the ingredients and making the different things. I think what I'll start doing going forward is like going over the history, at least in this country, of how we got into the things we enjoy. Because as I'm starting to cook at home more and learning from the recipes, I'm starting to realize a lot of the things we buy today have been around for like 100 years. Like the chicken sandwich, fried chicken. Like we eat these foods and we pay the prices we pay with our health and our money for what we think is like a luxury when it can be made at home for a lot cheaper with just a little bit of thought and a little bit of time. Even better quality with better ingredients. But I think once we know better, we'll do better. But I think once we kind of see, okay, I can make ketchup at home. I don't have to keep buying the bottle. I can make mayo at home. I don't have to keep buying the jar. Or I can make chicken nuggets and French fries at home. I don't have to keep going to the drive-thru and getting taxed. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that we can enjoy our favorite foods, even the sweets and desserts and candy bars, Laffy Taffies, gummy bears, all of that stuff we used to make at home. So I think it's just really a convenience gap for most people on making that decision. So if it's like, I know I should be drinking water today, but the soda machine at McDonald's looks so flashy and cool, I might have to pick a flavor instead of just grabbing water. So I think that's literally the only thing stopping most people, just that small step to make the right decision.
Again, I love the fact that you said that because we can indulge in these things instead of my mom always tell me because I'm always ready to go to what restaurant do I like, Chick-fil-A,
Hmm.
or another one is Cookout. So we can make these things at home for us, and it's much healthier because I know people just like, but I mean, still go to your restaurants what you like, but you can make them at home as well too with your own ingredients.
Yep.
And it's a woman on YouTube, and I mean, she has a whole farm, like shall I say, a whole farm of her own vegetables, and her kid boys, her sons, they sit up there and they preserve vegetables. It's a black woman. Yellow Garden Homestead is her
Oh yeah,
name,
yeah.
and she
They,
preserves her own vegetables, her own fruits, all of that, and she had it all laid out on the counter. She showed you how she preserves them and saves them and uses them again year round. I mean, so people are starting to do that because again, inflation.
yeah.
Going to the store to pick up a cucumber or let's say a head of lettuce or a cabbage or whatever. I mean, it's always some sort of tax on something, but you can go there and you can definitely create your
Yeah.
own.
And I think once people get used to the idea of cooking, it becomes less of a chore. I think when people think of cooking, they think of like how much time they're losing versus what it's really for. And you can look at it one or two ways. Like some people, they're literally just too busy to cook. Like they just don't. There's no reason for you to think about that. But for most people, I think when you get your hands dirty in your favorite meals, you'll start to realize how much better you can make, or how many better choices you can actually make. Like for me, you were saying your favorite is ice cream. My favorite is ice
Yeah.
cream, cheesecake, cookies, brownies, like all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh,
And so for me, I can't, like when I go into the grocery store, it would be easy for me to go into the grocery store and just grab a box of Hostess or grab a tub of ice cream. It would be super easy. I could just drop the money and then enjoy. But I have to literally make the conscious decision to say, okay, if I do that, that has to happen one time, or how many times I have to plan for my goals, or I can only eat this much of it, or at the next version of it would be to make my own version. So I make cheesecake at home using like sugar-free cheesecake, Jello pudding powder, and things like that, and it tastes the same. I can eat graham crackers with it, and I feel like I'm eating a cheesecake. But for some people, they prefer the actual thing. So they have to make the choice of, all right, I'm going to get the actual thing, but I have to be conscious about the fact that I'm enjoying the actual thing. Like I can't act like, oh, I'm doing this one time, so I'm fine. No, did you work out today? Did you track this? Did you drink your water? Like, are you set? Did you make sure your priorities in order to make sure you're enjoying the things that you want to enjoy, versus just making it a emotional decision like, oh, this feels good to eat, and that's where we go wrong most times. We just eat how we feel.
it is Nurse Trula. It has antioxidants in it, and
Chocolate, oh
it's
yeah.
good for your heart. Another thing is wine. One of my guests came on the show and he said, "Do you know how much wine you would have to drink? Because they say wine is good for your heart. Red wine specifically is good for your heart. Anything red, like a pomegranate, strawberries, all of these fruits out here that are red and colorful. Definitely. I'm my friend. I need you to try banana bread. I've had banana bread. That's one of your favorites. So again,
Yep.
moderation. I indulge in these things in moderation.
Yeah, banana bread is good. It's it's one of those, like, baking is another way you can fit in. We were talking about vitamins earlier. You can fit in a lot of good vitamins into your baked goods. Your grocery store tries to do it, but the way they do it is more so to keep the food stable. Like you can fit in extra calcium and extra protein into your baked goods. You can make protein muffins, protein bars, and take those to work instead of being overcharged for extra sugar and flavor and chocolate. So there's a lot of ways you can really approach your favorite food. You can make Snickers at home. You can make Twix at home. I've seen people make yeah, all kinds of stuff at home very, very easily too.
Don't like dry red wine though. What do you prefer in wine? You said Stella Rosa. That's a good brand right there, all in itself.
I like Scotch.
And I think Issa Rae, she has a wine out as well too. So I mean, there's different ones out here that you could go and try.
Yeah, but I feel you on the dry wine. I've tried dry wine now. Ooh, that's crazy how y'all enjoy this. Dry wine is insane.
But it says good for your heart, antioxidants. But chocolate latte is too sweet to me. I don't really like it, to be honest. Y'all rubbing it in my face with all this chocolate. But y'all know your girl has acid reflux, so I can't. My mom yesterday when we went to the restaurant because we went to go pick up some food. I ordered something for me and her to eat, and they had desserts. It was banana pudding, peach cobbler, and then chocolate eclair. I said, "Oh, so you just gonna rub it right in my face? I can't have chocolate. Chocolate eclair. It's got chocolate in it. But I mean, if I do it maybe one piece or two piece, but I can't overdo it. After that, that's good because I know it's gonna trigger the acid reflux, and I can feel it right here in my chest. And another thing, spicy. A substitution. I can have Oreos. Oreos is like fudge. It's on the fudge side. I can eat that, but I can't have chocolate. So y'all go ahead and rub it in at my expense.
Yeah, I love
Y'all can
chocolate.
have chocolate. I can't. I can't because I know it's gonna set something off. Where I made the mistake, my mom bought these granola bars, and they had, you know how they have the granola bars that have the chocolate bits in them, and the thing in the bar. I ate one, and that was it for me right there. I felt it start right up in my chest. So I said, "Yeah, you can get these to grandma. I can't eat them no more." But anything else that is sweet, I definitely can eat, like peach cobbler, banana pudding. What else can I eat? As Dame mentioned, cheesecake. That's another thing that she likes. She likes strawberry cheesecake. Now they make a blueberry cheesecake. That's more on my side. So we are the polar
Yeah.
opposite. Uh, Chocolate is not good, to be honest. It's not good. Anybody needs sweet stuff, but not chocolate. Maybe a little, but not too much. I love chocolate. And see, if you go into Sam's Club or Walmart, do you guys know the big symphony bars? That bar is huge.
Yep. I was about to tell you
And
too.
yes, my grandmother loves those.
there's a
So I
there's
would give it
actually
to her. I would eat
a difference between the different chocolates, and I've actually gotten to taste the different ones. So you have like the chocolate that we normally eat, which is like 80 something percent chocolate. Say like a Nestle bar or a Hershey bar. It'll be like this much chocolate and then this much sugar and then this much fat, and that makes that Nestle bar taste delicious for like kids and people in general. But if you go to like the other side of your grocery store where like the adult chocolates are, there's like 92% cacao, 97% cacao, and it starts to taste really, really bitter. And that's because they've taken a lot of the sugars and fats out. You're really getting that cocoa bean benefit, kind of like coffee bean, but you're getting that cocoa bean benefit
it. Yes.
directly, and it's just not as tasty for kids. So that's probably if you really need to get some chocolate, that's probably the best way to get some. For me, I can't really taste the difference because I'm a chocolate fiend. It tastes good to me, but a lot of people, when you get to that side of the chocolate world, they're like, nope, take me back to Hershey and Nestle. I need all that.
And that is right. If you go back and you read the back of the chocolate bar and the ingredients, the nutrition facts, there's a cocoa about 87%.
Yeah,
So, like Dame said, if you go to the other side of your grocery store, they'll have another alternative there. So, I mean, it's always something for anybody who can't eat chocolate, or if you can't really taste it like that, but the actual real
yeah.
thing. And we see them making this thing. Um, my girlfriends, they went to the Hershey factory in Pennsylvania, and you go there, it's a lot of chocolate. So for me, what chocolates do I like? I like Twix, because Twix is more so, it's chocolate, but it's more so on the caramel
Yeah.
side. Now I can eat one of those, but I can't overdo it. What's another one? Like I said, the Heath bar, anything that's caramel, I can eat caramel, but dark chocolate, I can't. I give it right to my mom or my grandmother.
I do like.
And my mom would come home with this big symphony bar. I'm sorry, you were saying?
Oh, I was saying I do like that you point out how much of it you can't eat because I
Mm-hmm.
think there is an idea that most people aren't aware of what balance actually looks like in there. Because like if I were to think about how I was eating as a kid, it was like just gluttony, basically. Like just whatever I see, I can eat it. But then as you're saying, like eating one Twix, just saying that, like that's like that's like winning the lottery in America. Like nobody's buying a Twix and eating one, but I think that's true balance right there. To say like I'm going to eat one Twix, that's something that I think is rare for most people. And even like visualizing what that one Twix, gets you if you eat it. For you, you have your acid reflux, so it's very, very obvious and very upfront for you what happens. But I think if it's something like for me, I don't have that. It's something that affects me way down the line. So I would eat two Twix thinking it's fine, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to have my issues. And I was like, oh, it's the second Twix. That's right. So I think once we get an idea of what true balance looks like for our meals, I think that will make so much sense.
Don't leave me behind. I'll be back in 5 minutes. We'll be wrapping up in a bit, Alex, but the replay will be up. But this is the last thing I wanted to touch on was desserts. Now, another thing before we go is we touched you said something about drinks. Now, we know that every day at 5 o'clock, what happens when we get off of work, y'all? We gotta have that drink. It's happy hour. It's happy hour. We gotta have that drink. And for people out here who are mindful about the calories and the intakes of how sweet a beverage can be for you, not just a soda pop, as we would say, but the alcoholic beverages like the martinis, the cocktails, or mocktails. Mocktails are more on the healthier side. So you can put orange juice or whatever you desire in your mocktail. So, Dane, for you, what are some things that you would recommend for the summer for people who like their cocktails, martinis, who like a good drink?
Honestly, if you can, go as long as you can with as little alcohol as you can. If it's something that you're like, man, I want to cut back, try to go as hard in that cutback as you can, because there's very little benefit in it. It just makes you feel away, right? And speaking on like the history of food, we're just using it in a way that we just normally shouldn't use it. Then, so if you're gonna do like cookouts and things like that, of course you want to have like a beer or maybe a wine cooler or something like that. It's just that when the cookouts start to happen every weekend, then you start realizing, dang, I got a beer in my hand every time I show up. That's when I would say you might want to start using mocktails. And I personally haven't like gotten into mocktails, but I've tasted a few, and it's pretty good. Like it's a drink, you know. And that goes back to what I was saying about looking at balance. Like I think people when they think of mocktails, they feel like they're losing something, but drink is not why you're not having the drink for the drink. You're having the drink for the occasion, for the people. And so once you take your mindset off of like, I need the alcohol and the feeling it gets me right, or this is how I am socially, or what you were saying, like after 5 p.m., you get off work, you need to wind down. And once you get your mindset off of that, you'll start to realize, I don't really need that. It's not necessary for me to do that. And so let me make a different decision. But a nurse says it too. Alcohol contains more sugar. Alcohol literally.
It does.
So yeah,
Yes.
you're basically taking a fruit, some soda maybe, or some juice, pouring more sugar into that, and then you're gonna flavor it with more sugar, and then maybe throw some lemon in it, calling that a drink. And you're gonna have 3 of those tonight. So
And again, it'll have you bouncing off the wall, just like again, with if it has sugar in it, it's gonna have you hyper.
yeah,
So I was watching this
guaranteed.
episode of Sister with what's her name, Jackie Harry, and they gave her nerve gas when she went to the dentist. And when she got out the dentist, her eyes just got so wide and everything. She was going to a funeral with Ray. And so when she got to the funeral with Ray, she got up out of the chair. She just started being happy and smiling and stuff. Like that's what it it gives you a feeling. Sugar gives you a feeling. It gives you a rush.
Yeah,
And you got to be careful with it. It's, again, if we give it to our kids, we already see what it. I have a 6-month-old nephew,
mm,
and he can't even have candy yet. But I'm imagining when he gets maybe like 8 or 9 or 10 years old, and he's asking Auntie Stevie, "Can I have some candy?" or my mom for some candy, or my dad for some candy. I already know. We've seen the disaster of giving the kids candy. It's like, okay, we give into it, but we still have to be mindful of
yeah,
it as well too. And even with them, with their snacks and stuff like the dinosaur chicken nuggets, we can let them have that, but still make sure that they're incorporating fruits and vegetables into their what they like as well too. Doing it mindfully.
yeah. And it's key to be mindful of like how you're managing your stress so you can make the right decisions, because some parents they're not feeding their kids on a mindset of abundance. They're feeding them on a mindset of either convenience or lack, meaning like you're picking your kids up right after work and they're bugging you about their favorite meal, so you just cave and give it to them versus giving them what they actually need or a healthier option, and building that kind of relationship for them with food. It takes work, you know. Not everybody's not going to look forward to doing work, but it takes work for you to do that. So I think when it comes to kids, too, we have to be extra sensitive for them because we build habits. So like for me, I built a lot of bad habits as a kid because everybody around me, I was a good kid. They gave me what I wanted, so it wasn't really like I was, down bad or anything. It was just like, oh, you want this? Here, take it. Here's some candy. And then after a while, I was like, okay, why do I feel tired? Or like, why am I fat? And why am I getting overweight? And my clothes don't fit. And then you start to find the answers, and you're like, oh, it's in the food. Okay, so that's why it has to be very, very sensitive and careful for kids because they just don't know. So they're asking for Kool-Aid and snacks just because the same reason we ask, because it
Oh
feels
yeah.
good, So that's how much more diligent we have to be as adults, not even parents, just adults for kids. Like we got to make schools have better options. When you see, kids ordering meals, they should be mindful of the things that they're eating, just because they're going to be adults one day and they want to be healthy. So
Absolutely, and I love when Michelle Obama was in the White House. She took the initiative to go out there to schools to make sure that kids were eating healthy, like the school lunch initiative.
Yeah.
And God, I wish they would bring that back. Biden would bring that back. But we need more of that in school systems, because it's just like, okay, the kids want to eat healthy. It's okay, to indulge in a candy bar or two, but make sure that you are incorporating fruits and vegetables in it. But a lot of our younger, they just like, okay, sugar, sugar, sugar. And those Capri Sun drinks, those little juices, we all had them. We all had our little juice boxes growing up. The Capri Sun, and what's the other one? The Kool-Aid Jammers.
Oh yeah.
Y'all remember them?
Yeah.
So I mean, they have so much sugar in them. It's just like, oh my God, these are so good, but it's so bad at the same time.
Yeah.
So make sure that you are intaking water with these things, because they are so sweet. And I bought a sweet drink. I can't remember the name of it. It was from Juicy Juice. It was tangerine, and even that had sweetness in it. It had a little sugar in it. And my mom was like, this is sweet.
Yeah.
And then the other one was Welch's, and it was tropical something. I can't remember the name of it. Guava. I know it was guava something in the green carton.
Mm.
And my mom said, this is sweet.
It's
How you
like
drink this? This
two
is
kinds
sweet.
of juice.
So yeah.
There. You can get the 100% fruit juice, which is, it's gonna taste super sweet, but it's a concentrated version of the juice. And what I find people doing is they'll drink a big glass of that, and that's not good either, because it's still like a lot of sugar at once. Even though it is fruit sugar, it's still a lot of sugar. And then there's the other fruits, or the other juices, where they have like I guess concentrates with natural flavor. So like you'll have Minute Maid, where they'll have cocktails mixed with other mixtures to make it taste sweet with some water. Yeah. So I guess the best thing for most people to do, if you really do like fruit juice, is to get the 100%, but to keep mindful to have like a glass of water with that. Because I did a video once on like which cup to use, short, medium, or tall. I would say if you're going to drink 100% fruit juice, to get a short glass. And if you're going to drink water, to get a tall glass. And drink that with your meal, because commonly, and I've done it before, is you get a tall glass and fill it to the brim with fruit juice, drink that, and then eat your meal and drink another glass with that, and that is a whole lot of sugar in one sitting. So I've seen it done, and I have done it.
So again, it goes back to balance. Make sure that you are balancing these things out. It all ties in to having a healthier lifestyle. 4-ounce glass.
The 4-ounce glass. I have little 8.
And they do have glasses with the thing on there where you can measure the amount that you pour in or whatever.
Yeah, I think once people realize like how to track food, like how to visualize it, it gets so much easier. Like you were saying, that the kids earlier, they just sugar, sugar, sugar. I think once they see how much of it they're actually eating, they're like, I don't really want that stuff. It's kind of like cigarettes. Like you don't see a bunch of kids on cigarettes. Like you got to kind of convince the kid to get out cigarettes. But I think once they're aware of like, okay, that soda has like a pack of sugar, let me get a sugar-free version of it at least. They'll try to do that instead of trying to get what they want all the time.
So there you have it, Fashion Dolls. Those are your options. Do we have any more questions for myself or Damon? I'm glad that we touched on this, because I know you guys want to have a healthy summer. We all knew there's going to be a lot of cookouts. There's a lot of concerts going on, and I've seen people already starting to hit the grill, and so many restaurants and things are starting to emerge. So we got to make sure that we're mindful of what we intake. A lot of people are taking vacations, and I know everybody's just like, how do I fit into my swimsuit? Or I want to make sure that I drop this amount so that if I'm going to the beach, everything looks right. So these are a few tips that can help you out during the summer. And it's always a pleasure having you here, Dane, to dish on this. I love talking health with you, because as you guys can see, I always try to make sure that I'm healthy and I'm practicing what I preach as well too. Even though I indulge in things, I still, with me being a fashion girl, I have to be able to fit in these outfits, y'all. So I have to be mindful of what, it takes work. It takes work. I mean, you can't just wake up and be like, okay, I'm healthy. But this is the thing, is you have to make sure that you are consuming. You are what you eat. And y'all have heard that expression a lot of times. So what you put in, your body will reflect on your skin. It will reflect in all of these other things. And you're just like, okay, why is my circulation off? Or why is all of this off? All of these things. So I'm glad that we touched on all of these things. So before we wrap up, Dane, what are a word of encouragement, or some gems that you would like to give to people going into the summer months, on wanting to maintain great health, great skin, great nails. We want all of these things to look great for the summertime. What are some gems that you would give to people before we wrap up?
Well, I'll say I've learned it from getting a coach for myself. And what I've learned is it kind of took my hands off of the process as far as what they eat and things like that, and it allowed me to enjoy it. So I think for most people, when you're thinking about a goal you have for weight loss, like for you, you have to make sure you're maintaining your physique and things like that. Find enjoyment in it, and that's the key to keep you going. Because the minute most people find inconvenience, they don't do it anymore, or they'll quit. Kind of like if you go to a restaurant and they get your order wrong, you may not come back, and you also may not tell them either. You just ghost them. So don't do the same thing with your fitness. Don't do the same thing with your health. Find literal enjoyment of beating those problems and finding these problems, and then finding solutions for them. It makes the journey so much more valuable. You'll start to really cherish those solutions, and you'll cherish how you get to these solutions. Like how I keep reminding people to track their food, it's that much valuable to me because of the results I've gotten from tracking the food. So that's why I stand behind it so much. And so when you find something that makes you happy, or even if it's just I just want to look good, if that makes you happy, then make sure you find enjoyment in that process of looking good. And so that's my best advice.
And Nurse Chula says, thank
Oh yeah,
you.
these are fun. These are always fun.
Yes, and I love having you on the show. So we got to set something up for the fall months because we're going to be inside,
Yeah.
and everybody's going to when it gets fall winter months, we're going to be wanting to binge eat. We're going to be wanting to binge eat. Comfort food is what it's
Yep.
called, in moderation, but still be mindful as well too. Because then when these type of months like this hit, the summer months is bikini season. It's two-piece season. It's swim trunks season for the fellas. So I mean, everybody wants to make sure that everything is in
Yep.
shape. So it's very, very important. And what I would say to close out today's show, today's final thought is, with everything that is going on, make sure that you are prioritizing your health and your peace. It is sacred. So I went in the beginning of the show when I started off this conversation with Dame, I said, what is something that you're doing to protect your mental peace and stability? A lot of people have taken to exercise and working out to make sure that, okay, my mind is right, because when your body is right, up here is right.
Yep.
And it goes into these three things: mind, body, and soul. So make sure that you are protecting your mind, your body, and your soul. Key thing to protect first is that mind. You got to think up here. It all starts up here. It's just like, am I eating too much sugar? Am I consuming too much sugar? How do I need to be mindful of these things? Also, what do I need to intake to make sure? There's my girl. Hey, Shayla.
Shayla, Shay Craig.
And we just about to wrap up. We gotta have you back on, Shayla. We gotta set something up for the fall because I want to dish on fall beauty trends. We know around the fall months, y'all know what goes on, and it's Miss Stevie's favorite thing. It is fashion week.
Yeah.
So, and you know your girl is going to bring it on this show, okay? So, but we were wrapping up today's final thought with this. I want you guys to go into the summer months in this election cycle with a healthy mindset, a healthy mind, making sure that you are protecting your mental health and peace because it is sacred. And we all have to make sure that if it comes a time where you have to unplug.
Yeah.
Another thing, drink lots of water. And that's all I have for today. And Shayla says, pump me too, girl. The lips are gonna be darker. We know we gonna bring it. I got some stuff up my sleeves. So y'all just gotta stay tuned. Fashion month. It is fashion week month in the fall, and I can't wait. So, Dame, let everyone know where they can follow you. And Shayla, let everyone know where they can follow you at, girl. We're gonna DM me because we gotta set something up for the fall, and I'm gonna get you back on the show in the fall today.
You can find me right here on Instagram for anything fitness related, and YouTube as well. Those are the best two places to find me. Instagram and YouTube at Dane.
And Shayla is Dane's wife, ladies and gentlemen, and she is I call her now my sister in beauty because we both have a love, and I know it drives Dane crazy, but you know how women are when we get If we talk makeup and hair for hours, we like to look beautiful. We like all these
They talk to
things.
the sun.
So I mean, yes, the second conversation he came in and I know he was watching. He said in the back of his mind, when will these two girls ever stop talking? But it's a thing. It's a girl thing. We love our hair. We love our makeup. So Shayla, I can't wait for the next beauty conversation. And Dame, I can't wait for the next health and music conversation because we need these things.
Yeah, I'm excited. These are always fun. It's like a candid
Yes, yes,
conversation, very
yes.
relaxing.
And we need it. We need it in these times because I know a lot of people are in times of uncertainty. And I just want to bring a lightness to everything that's going on. I just want you guys to have a distraction just for a minute to focus on your health and make sure that you're all right. So sometimes you have to do a weekday check-in. That's the last part of my final thought is that you sometimes have to do a check-in and be like, okay, whether it's I weigh myself on the scale or I sit and I look in the mirror as I'm brushing my teeth or whatever it may be, I have to do a self check-in like, okay, stop. What do I need to do to make sure that I'm okay and I'm healthy? So weigh in these alternatives. I'm telling you. Make sure that you take time for yourself. Your self-care should be a priority. So make sure that you are taking time to prioritize again that mind. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with, Fashion Dolls. Tomorrow joining me, we have TJ Creatives. And Dame and Shayla, it is always a pleasure to have y'all here. Shayla, message me, girl, so that we can set up something for this next conversation. And Dame, I'm going to send you the October dates so that we can set up for the fall. You guys, again, like I said, Fashion Week. It is Fall Fashion Week, and I can't wait. So,
Let's go.
all right, Fashion Dolls, I love y'all all. And Dame and Shayla, always a pleasure. You guys be safe. Make sure that you are prioritizing your mental health because it is sacred. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mind, body, soul, and spirit. I love y'all, and I will see y'all tomorrow with TJ Creatives. Take care,
See
everyone.
y'all.
You too.